Hello, my name's Katie Rushworth and today I'm going to show you how to stake different trees depending on the situation that you want to plant them. Now this bed here is on a slope, so there is definitely a certain way in which to stake the tree correctly. But first we need to plant it. When planting any tree, you want a hole which is much bigger than the pot. This is quite delightful soil to dig. Now, some people say when planting a tree, you should plant a square hole. Some people say it should be round. Today I'm going with round. But you want the soil around the roots of the new tree to be really friable and nicely broken up so that the roots can anchor themselves as quickly as possible. The sooner your tree can become established and happy in its new home, the sooner you will reap the rewards of all the beautiful fruit this should give us. This is a pear tree. I'm going to pop a bit of compost into the bottom of the hole. If you have homemade compost, that would be wonderful. I'm just going to gently fork that into the bottom of the hole. Now for our tree. Now you just gently grab the trunk of the tree and pop the pot off. Now when you're buying trees, it's a really good tip. If you look at the bottom of the pot and you can see its white roots through the hole, you know that it's well rooted, and that's what you want, a really good set of roots on the tree. And we're going to just tease them out. Now you might think this is damaging the tree, but actually a little bit of vigorous teasing means that the roots will urge them to regrow, sending out new ones. And then I'm going to backfill all around the tree, breaking up any large clumps of soil, because we don't want those roots to be hitting them and not being able to get through. Okay. And then be really firm with the heel of your boot, because we don't want any air pockets around the roots. Okay. Now it's time for our stake. Now, with planting on a slope, you want your stake to be at a 45-degree angle and placed leaning into the prevailing wind. And that means that when the wind blows it, the tree will blow away from the stake, and that's what we want, because if the two blow together, that causes friction and you get cuts and wounds on the tree trunk because the two rub together, and we really don't want that to happen, because that's where pests and diseases get in. So I know the wind comes this way, so I'm going to put my stake in at this angle with the hope that when the wind blows the both of them, they both blow away from each other. You want to place your stake just out from the root ball of the tree. And hopefully, given that the soil is nice, we want at least 2/3 of this tree stake buried. I think that'll do. And then I have a tree tie. Now it's better to get a heavy duty one of these, and again it's all about stopping the tree from rubbing the stake. So we're going to tie it in a figure of 8. So first around the stake, and then around the tree. And as you can see here, we've got this buffer between the two. Giving them some added protection like a tree guard is often a good idea if you live rurally and you have any problems with deer or rabbits. But I think here, this one's going to be fine. I'm going to water it in, and hopefully within the year we should have some delicious pears. Now, in early spring, it's possible to buy hedges and trees, what we call bare rooted, which means that they have no soil and they're in no container when you get them. And because the plant is dormant in its dormant season, it's a really good time of year to plant them, because it means that as it's waking its slumber from the winter months, it's in its new position and will start growing away really quickly. And the staking for a bare rooted plant is different again. Now, before I plant my tree, I'm going to put my stake in. Because with a bare rooted tree, you need a vertical stake. Okay. Right. Now, as with any tree, it's really important that this faces the prevailing wind. I could have been a little bit higher. I can always cut it down. And then we're going to backfill with all our newly dug soil. Now, I haven't put any compost in the bottom of this hole, but what I will do is mulch around the top of the tree, and then the worms will come up and take all those nutrients from the compost down to the roots of the tree. Now I'm going to firm that in. When you plant any young tree, it's so important to water it really well in those first few weeks. Okay, now for my tree tie. And we're going to do the trusted figure of 8 again to stop any rubbing happening between the tree trunk and the stake itself. And as the tree matures and the girth of the trunk gets thicker, it's really important to check the tree tie, because if the girth of the tree outgrows the tree tie, then eventually the tree tie will start cutting in to the bark of the tree. And again, we really don't want that, because that's where disease can enter and kill the tree. And then you could always, if your tree tie is a little big for now, just screw it into the stake, and then it's going to hold up exactly where you want it. Now, staking trees is vital to their survival when they're young plants, and that's because what you're trying to do is to prevent the roots from being disturbed. For a tree to thrive, it really has to get its roots into the ground and anchor itself into position in order to be able to give you the display that you want to create. Now, this tree has definitely suffered a little bit with the prevailing wind that comes over this hedge, and you can see its growth is really stunted all the way up the stem. So it didn't have any tree stakes in. We're going to make sure that it does from now on, and hopefully it should mean again that the roots are not disturbed as much by all this rocking. You can see it's really flexible all the way up there, and that should mean it should be able to recover and get itself nice and anchored into the soil. Now you'll notice with a more established tree, we're going to put a stake either side and then create a bit of a H-shaped brace, if you like, using the tree ties. You want to make sure that the stakes are in at least a good 6 inches, if not more, away from the trunk of the tree, just so you're not disturbing too much that root ball. And then the other one is going to go on the other side. Now, this is a really quick and easy job to do with trees. Whether you are planting a bare-rooted one, a tree on a slope, a mature tree like this needs a bit of TLC. Just giving them that little bit of extra support will hopefully mean that they will perform better as plants for you in your garden. And there we have it. That is braced nicely, so hopefully that should recover. For more how-to videos, visit silverlinetools.com.